Let me set the scene. You're giving a performance to friends, family, or a big crowd, and you're singing a song that you've worked on for a long time, and that big note is coming up. That high note, you're getting prepped for it, you're going through all of the things you practiced, the technique that you've worked on, and you're saying, this time I'm gonna get it, and you go for the note, ha, and your voice totally cracks. I apologize if I bring up any painful memories. I know I have my own painful memories. Don't ask me about junior year of college. Just don't do it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm Matthew Johnson, owner of Elite Singer, and I want to help you get rid of your voice cracks. This is such a scary thing for any singer. This is like the dreaded thing, the worst thing that could possibly happen when you perform and you go for that high note and your voice just totally flips. It's not a fun feeling. But as scary as it is, once you understand what leads to voice cracks, it's actually relatively easy to fix it. I'm going to give you one of my favorite exercises in this video to get your vocal folds together and get rid of those vocal cracks. But first, let's talk about why that happens. So the vocal folds make a V in your neck. They are closed in the front, open at the back, and when they close down together, they vibrate, and that's how we create sound. Along with this action, they also thicken up. So if we sing with a chestier type of sound, ha, we have a thicker sound than if we sing ha with a lighter or breathier type of sound. And if we think of the registers of the voice, if you're singing in your chest voice or M1 register, ha compared to your head voice or M2 register, ha, there's a very big change in that sound. And that's because the vocal folds with that lower register are thicker. They're more put together. And as soon as you go into that higher range, the vocal folds loosen up and they let go. There's a muscle. The deepest layer of your vocal folds is a muscle called the thyroarytenoid muscle, or the TA muscle. Don't worry, I'm not going to quiz you on that later. And if that muscle lets go, you flip into that upper register. To boil it down, all a voice crack is, the only thing that leads to a voice crack are the vocal folds falling apart and thinning out too much. Ha, 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 ha. But if you can keep those muscles together as you go higher, ha, we get rid of those voice cracks. This is why when we look at singers, sometimes we see them straining. Their head lifts up, we see veins popping out of their neck, muscles sticking out, and they're using every bit of effort to go higher because what they're trying to do is close down the vocal folds and make sure that they don't crack. The issue with that is if everything externally is helping you keep the vocal folds together and the vocal folds aren't doing it themselves, eventually the vocal folds aren't going to be able to bear that weight. It's almost like you're trying to do a bicep curl, and as you're holding that curl, someone is just layering on an extra 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds. Eventually, the muscles are going to give out, and they're going to fall apart. So in the short term, if you're using all of this muscle, this tension, to go higher, eventually that's going to fail, and the vocal folds are going to say, this is too strenuous for us, we're out. And they're going to totally fall apart. So the name of the game is, can you keep those vocal folds together without the help of volume, without the help of tension, without the help of lifting up that head or squeezing the abs? We want the vocal folds to do all the work for you. Because if you find that, that upper mix is going to feel really nice no matter what style of music you're singing. You're going to be able to sing for hours without worrying about fatigue. That's where we want to get you to. Now, before I give you this exercise, which I love for getting rid of voice cracks, I want you to feel the difference between this thicker setup of the vocal folds and this lighter and looser setup of the vocal folds. So what I want you to do is say for me, ha, nice and strong, ha. You're going to feel this power, this intensity going through the sound. Now, on the total opposite side of the spectrum, I want you to say this for me, whoo, and just hoot like an owl. And feel how light and how easy that is. Now, can you go back and forth between them? Ha, whoo. Say that with me. Ha, whoo. Now, let's get rid of the break in the middle, or that pause in the middle. Ha, whoo. Ha, whoo. Try that with me. Ha, whoo. And you'll feel this letting go of the muscles. Everything falls apart. And that's that TA muscle, the thyroretinoid, totally letting go. So for this exercise, we want to avoid that from happening. And if you're successful, your cracks are going to totally go away. Now it's time to sing. So we're going to be using a glottal for this exercise on the word A. Go ahead, say that for me. A. Now the thing about a glottal is when you make that sound, what we're doing is closing down the vocal folds before you initiate that sound. We know that when we crack, the vocal folds fall apart, and using a glottal is going to encourage them to stay together so they don't let go too much. So we're going to live with those glottals for this whole exercise. And with this AA, we're going to sing on an 8-5-3-1 pattern. We want to make sure we don't have A, everything falling apart. Use that glottal, to keep the vocal folds together and keep that crack out of your voice. The exercise is going to sound like this. Don't worry if that's starting a little bit low for you now. We're definitely going to take that higher, and we're going to start at a C4. I'll sing some with you. Feel that glottal in the front. We do not want the sound to be breathy, because that's going to lead to a crack. Here's your F4. Nice. Feel that tightness. No cracking allowed. Use about the same volume you talk at. That'll also make it easier to go higher. Nice. Couple more. Highest, you're doing great. Well done. We took you up to a C5 on top. If that's feeling easy, I recommend you keep on going. And if it's feeling tricky, that's okay. That's what practice is for. You could always return back to this exercise to make this a much more comfortable feeling as you get comfortable with that mix and getting rid of those cracks. So at the end of the day, what we're looking for is instead of A, where everything is falling apart, we want to use that glottal A, to keep your vocal folds together. And once you get that feeling, it's going to feel so comfortable, so effortless to go into that higher range in your mix without the worry of cracks on the horizon. We talked about why vocal cracks happen and a great way to get rid of them. Hopefully you're already feeling improvements in your voice. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button and consider sharing this video with a singer friend. It greatly helps out the channel. Let me know in the comments how you did with this exercise and if there are any other topics you want me to cover in upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching. I have a free resource in the description to continue to help you build your vocals, and I look forward to seeing you soon for the next video.